A warm welcome to the fifth session, dear students. So already we have discussed 4 sessions in which we have discussed about meaning, importance, objectives in the first session, and second session we have discussed about the nature and scope of investment. Third one we have discussed about real and financial assets in which you can invest. The fourth one was about investment avenues, the various options available for an investor to. So here we have the concept of risk and return. We have systematic and unsystematic risk. As I told you, this is the concept what we are going to discuss in this particular session. So here we have the recap of the previous session. So in the previous session we have discussed about investment avenues, which are broadly classified into two, marketable and non-marketable securities, and a market investor has to take into consideration all the pros and cons of each and every investment opportunity, and he has to invest in that. The learning objectives of this chapter are how you are going to understand about the investment settings, alternate investment opportunities available, concept and measurement of risk, valuation of fixed income securities, and bond innovations. So today we are in the concept of measurement of risk and return. Here we have the session outcome. The students will be able to understand the concept of risk and return, point out the differences between systematic and unsystematic risk. What is risk basically? Risk is a probability of threat or liability. It is nothing but a fear of loss, or it is a fear of some negative occurrence that is caused by internal or external vulnerability, and that may be avoided through preemptive action. So risk is always there when you go for investing, whether it is real asset or it is a financial asset. So when a person goes for investment, he has to be well prepared to see that he is going to face some kind of risk, except in case of this fixed interest bearing securities. Generally they will not cause any kind of harm to the investor. So every risk is associated with return. Return may be in the form of interest, dividend, or capital gain. So every investor has to be cautious about the risk and the return. That's what they have to go for. A capital budgeting decision by taking into consideration the amount of risk and the amount of return. There should be a balance between the risk and return. In fact, return should be more than the risk. Otherwise, there is no meaning in purchasing, or there is no meaning in investing. So, every investor or the firm must compare the expected return from a given investment with the risk associated with it. So, always to be on the positive side, your return should be more than the investment risk. Let us go for the different types of risk. We have basically two types of risk: systematic risk and unsystematic risk. So the systematic risk is uncontrollable by an organization and is macro in nature. It is due to the influence of external factors of an organization, and it affects a large number of organizations operating under a similar stream of or same domain. So here these are like outside the organization and they are in the economic condition. The unsystematic risk is due to influence of internal factors prevailing within an organization. These are controllable from organization's viewpoint. Risk is broadly classified into two categories: systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Systematic risk is the risk which is uncontrollable, which is out of the industry. Unsystematic risk is one which is controllable and it is within the industry. So systematic risk is broadly classified into three: market risk, interest risk, and purchasing power risk. Market risk is nothing but the risk involved in buying and selling of securities. So here sometimes there will be a consistent fluctuation in the trading prices of a particular share or a debenture. It arises due to fall in the trading price of listed securities and shares. This type of systematic risk affects share market price of shares because the share prices moves ups and downs and people will not have constant energy to purchase or sell the securities. Here the investor has to be very careful, and they have to look into the various aspects of that particular security and then purchase the security. Whereas we have the second one concept, interest rate risk. This is due to the fluctuations in the interest rates which is being caused due to the government monetary policies. So here what happens, once the government varies the repo rates as a part of its monetary policy, the interest on various securities will be differing. For example, the treasury bonds or the certificate of deposit. So what happens, the return what an investor gets may get lower. That is actually a risk. If it gets higher, of course it is an opportunity. Now the next one is purchasing power risk. So what happens, this purchasing power risk is also called as inflationary risk. So here what happens is, many times the purchasing power of an individual during inflation comes down. The return what you get will be constant, but the purchasing power will be lower. So at that time you face a risk. For example, I'll just give you an example. An old person has invested some 5 lakh rupees in a particular investment opportunity. Say he is getting 2,500 per month. His amount of earnings in the form of interest will be 2,500, but the purchasing power might have come down due to inflation. Say for example, a tablet which he was purchasing for 50 rupees may go up by 10 rupees, 60 rupees. At the time what happens, his purchasing power will come down. What he used to consume for 100 rupees may increase to 105 or 110. So automatically the purchasing power will come down. This is called as purchasing power risk. This can be related to other aspects of the industry also. So here the investor has to be very cautious, and moreover this, as I told, it is uncontrollable. There is no control from the individual on this purchasing power risk. Now coming to the unsystematic risk, which is controllable and it is within the industry, we have two types. The first one is business risk. The business risk is nothing but the risk which is faced by the company in its day-to-day operations. It is in its operating environment. Generally a company exists in an environment which is surrounded by different factors. The factors may be internal and external. Actually you might have studied this in business in the first sem, business organization and environment, where we discussed about controllable factors and uncontrollable factors of business. So internal factors are within the organization. It comprises of the employees, machines, men in the organization. External, which relates to the government, like political, technological, legal, sociological factors. All these factors will have an influence on the business. So a business has to make an investor has to make an in-depth study about this and then invest in the shares or bonds of a company. Now coming to the next one, that is financial risk. What is financial risk? This financial risk is nothing but the risk which an investor undergoes due to the financial conditions in the market, and here it is due to the threat for the equity holders because of the interest to be paid to the debenture holders or debt holders. And of course many times what happens, the equity shareholders may have to forego their dividend because of the fixed interest rate what is to be paid to the debenture holders. So what happens, the equity shareholders may have less returns in the form of dividend. So many times this variation will have lot of problem for the equity holders. And now what happens, this financial risk is divided into three parts. One is credit risk, country risk, and currency risk and country risk. Credit risk is due to a default by the borrower, or it is a probability of meeting a default. So many times what happens, the borrower may not pay and can default from paying the amount. At that time what happens, automatically the burden falls on the company and its profits will come down, and when profit comes down, the debenture holders will get fixed interest, but the dividend holders, the shareholders, may not get a dividend. So there are chances. This is though controllable, but many times the organization is not able to hold the investors. The next one is currency risk. This currency risk arises due to changes in the price of one currency against another. See, many times we see the changes in the currency rates of Indian rupee and American dollars. So this risk is acceptable and unavoidable many times, because whenever rupee value decreases, dollar value will automatically increase. So in this we have another one, country risk. It refers to the adverse changes in the financial conditions of a country which arises due to certain aspects, of course, in which the business is going to suffer. The different aspects of country risk are political risk, economic risk and liquidity risk. Political risk is due to the change in the government. So sometimes what happens, the deteriorating financial conditions are being created by the actions done by the government. So sometimes government will take a decision which is not in favor of the investors, but it will be in the favor of the companies. So in that case, investor is going to suffer. Next one is economic risk. This is due to the conditions like inflation, interest rates and foreign exchange rates. This economic conditions can have an influence even from the international level. When there is some crisis which is going on in the international level, again the country is going to face risk. I can just give an example of this COVID-19, wherein we have lot of problems because of the pandemic, and many people have lost jobs, many people have lost their health, many people have lost their families, and lot of problems are being created, and this is unavoidable. It is happening to the entire world, and so that is one particular condition what can be considered for economic risk. And the next one is the liquidity risk. It is nothing but the possibility that the market for a security might be liquid. So sometimes you think that the security can be sold in the market and it may not have market. Now for example, the present condition is people don't have money. Even if you want to sell, people are not ready to purchase because the amount available with them is very less and they have lot of problem with them. Right, students? I think it is gone. Here we have the multiple choice questions. The first one is interest rate risk is a systematic risk, unsystematic risk, internal risk or market risk. So here the answer is systematic risk. As we have discussed, systematic risk we have market risk, first one. Then we have interest rate risk, and then we have purchasing power risk. So the one among them is interest rate risk is systematic risk. So the students, the next multiple choice question is, the dash is the risk-free investment. Which is risk-free? Savings account, certificate of deposit, treasury bill or treasury bond. So here it is certificate of deposit which does not have any risk. One is the third question. Most investors are risk averse, which means they will assume more risk only if they are compensated by higher expected return. They will always invest in the investment with the lowest possible risk. They actively seek to minimize their risks. They avoid the stock market due to the high degree of risk. The option is B. They will always invest in the investment with the lowest possible risk. They want to have the lowest possible risk. Any investor for that matter tries to avoid higher risk and go for a risk which is lower. This generally is in case of individuals. Companies can take higher risk and they can deal with that. The next question is, the largest single institutional owner of common stocks is mutual funds, insurance companies, pension funds, commercial banks. The last option is commercial banks. That is the right answer, wherein they have more of common stocks. The next one is multiple choice question. Market risk is best measured by the alpha, beta, standard deviation and coefficient of variation. So here the answer is coefficient of variation. Market risk is always associated with different concepts, and coefficient of variation will tell us the variability or stability in the risk which is being taken into consideration. So hence marketers will be very cautious about that. So here students, we have the references. You can just go through any of the books, and of course I have provided the material for you. You can go through that. You can go through that and just see it. If there is any consequences of any adjustments to be done or any addition to be done, you can refer any of these books and you can just go through that. Thank you, students. I'll see you in the next session, that is session number 6.